Hey y'all! So today's episode of All About April is going to be very special. Why? I just finished reading Britney Spears' memoir, The Woman in Me. I have loved Britney since Baby One More Time. Let's start there. But what I have read and found out has honestly left me in shock. So I want to share with you my thoughts and feelings about my take on The Woman in Me, how I see Britney now, and what I think you should be looking forward to when you happen to read the book if you have not already. So before I start, I will tell you, if you are not in a good mental state, it is probably not a good idea for you to read this right now. There were some moments in there that some would consider triggering. So I just want to give you a heads up. I do think that it is informative if you were a fan of Britney like I am, not was, like I am. And I think that you will leave with this having a better understanding of exactly who she is today and what she's been through. So let me start off by saying I was excited when my girl first came out because I'm like, what? A girl from Louisiana? I have no clue where Kentwood, Louisiana is, but we gonna support her and we gonna stick beside her because we love her, okay? Don't know a thing about her, but we love her already. And growing up in Louisiana, that's just how we do. That's who we are. We support our own. So when Hit Me Baby One More Time came out, y'all, it's a big deal. Britney is always on TRL. The outfits, the charisma, the music, she's just always giving, and it is so beautiful to be able to watch and encounter. So when things began spiraling for her, I'm like, what is going on? Like, what is happening? And I think it's fair to say, too, we have to be very careful in how the media has portrayed her, which I'm going to talk a little bit more about later. But when she cut her hair, we're just like, what's going on? Like, has my girl really lost it? And then the conservatorship, like, we can only go by what we were told. And, it's safe to say after reading the book, we were not given the honest truth. So when this book starts, and I will go ahead and tell you, I did the Audible version of it. I wanted to get the emotional feel of it. I know she didn't read it. It was read by Michelle Williams, who did a great job narrating it, in my opinion. But she starts off talking about, early life with her family, how her dad was, heavily pushed by his own father, and it made him feel like he was never enough. And a lot of these things and beliefs were actually pushed upon his children, in particular, Britney's brother, Brian. But Britney also shared that, she loved her grandmother, and in particular, one of the grandmothers actually took her own life at the grave of her deceased son. So I'm like, okay, so this is how we're starting off the book. This is a lot. One of her, grandmothers, if I'm not mistaken, the same one was also had mental health issues and was on lithium for a while. This is going to come into play a little bit later. So you get to see that, family dynamics are already something to behold. And you're wondering, exactly, okay, so why is she telling us this right now? Where is this going to play a role in it? But ultimately, she goes into how she becomes successful. She gets on the Mickey Mouse Club. She gets to meet a lot of the people that we know and love today. Christina, Justin, Ryan Gosling, etc., Carrie Russell. And so it was great to hear that she was impacted by these people, even to the point, like she talked about how when someone in her family passed away, that they couldn't afford the ticket back home, and Justin Timberlake's mom paid for their ticket so they could attend the funeral. So the connections were already there. But once, Maybe One More Time like really makes it big. It's like, oh my gosh, like it's really happening for her. And I, remember seeing the outfits, the dancing, the music, the charisma, like everybody going crazy over her. She's always number one on the charts. And let me be honest, Britney was appealing to everyone. She just was her. So we were so excited to see her succeed and do well, but let's be clear, not everybody was a fan of her movement. Some people believe that she was, overly sexualized for her age. This wasn't the image that they wanted, young girls to be. And she made it clear, like, it's not my job to raise your children. I'm here doing what I love to do. You still gotta raise your own kids. And she's right. She is absolutely right. One of the things that I do love about this memoir is you do see Britney taking accountability for a lot of things. So she talks about, how she's smoking at an early age, or she has sex at an early age. The men that she dated. She also discusses how she cheats on Justin, just as, he cheated on her. So there wasn't a moment where you don't feel as if she is not being completely vulnerable and honest about who she is. And I really appreciated that, because it's easy to point the finger at a lot of people, considering what she's been through, without also taking accountability for, the actions that you've done as well. But I will say, when she does talk about Justin and how they had lived together, and how their relationship went, how it was when they broke apart, how she was heartbroken, I was shocked to learn about the abortion. Not the fact that she had it, it was more so the trauma that she endured from it. They did not want her to go to the hospital. She ended up doing it at home to remain in secret. She talked about how it was one of the most painful things, literally, that she had ever gone through. And so I saw a Twitter thread where people were discussing the song Every Time. And they were discussing how the song was literally about the abortion. Now, I went back and I listened to the song after this, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So first off, I went to the writers. She and someone else wrote the song, just those two. And then you watch the video, and she's in a hospital walking down the hall in, the white t-shirt type dress. And the song is playing with this lullaby in the background. Y'all, haunting. I mean, the song has always been hauntingly beautiful, but now making that connection, I'm like, how did I miss this all this time? I think we were so focused on, the Justin thing, that we completely never thought or knew that she had gone through this. And when you really think about it, she went through this alone. So she talked about the hurt from the Crimea River thing. She's like, how is he doing this when he was cheating first? I responded, but to make her out to be the villain, it was hurtful, considering that this was a man that she had been with for a while and a man that she had loved. So as a woman, I completely understand her perspective, but I do appreciate the fact that she owned up to the fact that she had, cheated on him with Wade Robson, one of the choreographers. She also talks about how she meets Kevin Federline, and it was an instant, gravitation. She's, discusses she wasn't fully aware of who Shar was at the time, but, they get married, they, have 2 kids, and things were fine until it wasn't. He's doing his rap career. He pretty much isn't into Britney anymore. He wants a divorce. She's crushed. But Britney also talks about how, once the divorce happens, he begins to keep her sons away from her. And in my opinion, like, the things that were happening with her family and how hard her dad was on her is one thing. But I think that the unraveling of this moment truly hurt her, because the one positive aspect in this book was the way she talked about her kids. And you know and understand how much she really and truly loves them. So using this, like, I found it to be very manipulative, very abusive, and it happened over and over again. And I truly admire the fact that she kept fighting for them despite, you know, the things that he was doing to withhold her children away from her. You know, she talks about the people that she dates, but I want to move into when the conservatorship happens. Prior to this, we know she cuts her hair, and she talks about how she felt as if she had no control over anything. But cutting her hair, her mom and other people didn't feel that she was beautiful anymore. Like, her hair was her glory, and she's like, no, like, I am still me with or without my hair. But they did not see her that way. So the piece, when Britney starts doing the Vegas residency, they have her doing these shows for an insane amount of time. But let me tell y'all, once her dad comes into the picture, it is full on control. It is like he is his own father reincarnated, controlling Britney. And I'm so sad reading it, because, you know, initially she talks about the closeness of the family from a certain perspective, but it seems like the fame has truly ruined what they had. Anyone who got close to Britney was fired. Could not be around her by any means. They were using her money, having her to do shows, holding her kids over her in order to be able to do the shows. Putting her in rehab because she's taking energy supplements from working out. It was crazy what these people were doing. But when she gets into the conservatorship, I am truly sad for her, because at this point she doesn't see a way out. But how it happens, she was supposed to announce she was doing another Vegas residency. And rather than announcing it, she says she keeps walking, and then she goes into an SUV and drives off. And the very next day they can't pick her up, send her there. I was flabbergasted that they were living off of her success, off of her hard work, while they controlled every single aspect of her life. What she ate. My girl was eating chicken and greens every single day. How she worked out, the color of her hair. I cannot imagine her living like that. And for her, she was like, well, I did it because if I did it, I felt like if I was a good girl, then maybe they'd allow me to see my kids. Maybe they would allow me to go on vacation. And I'm like, for 13 years, she was in a conservatorship under her parents, living like that. Like, I cannot imagine. But what was the driving point of her leaving or getting out of it? Her fans. Her fans. She said that she was in, one of the mental health centers, and one of the nurses called her over and showed her there were people talking the Free Britney movement, the hashtag Free Britney. And that's when, people were asking questions. Why don't we hear from her? Why don't we see this? And it led to the biggest thing, to where ultimately, she was able to get her own lawyer, which she didn't even know she could get her own lawyer. Like, her mom also kept this away from her. They're shopping, going to Destin, Florida, doing everything with her money to keep her this way. Absolutely insane. So when she finally gets out of the conservatorship, she finally gets away from her father. I'm not gonna lie, like, I cried reading that, to read that. Social media is a very powerful tool. And as negative as the media was to her in her career earlier, the Diane Sawyer interview, I know y'all have seen it because it's absolutely crazy, and it disgusts me to this day. The way people talked about her dress and how she was and how they expected her to be. But to know that social media is what got her to safety and out of this, to me, is absolutely, it's a beautiful thing. Because we talk about social media all the time in a negative way, but it's not always negative. It's something that's beautiful. And I'm really, really happy for her. The first thing she talked about was, I wanted to see my kids. I wanted to go on vacation. And honestly, I truly hope that she is able to heal from this. The whole time I was listening to this, I was like, only God could have kept her. And she mentions it. She's like, I knew that there was a higher being. I don't know how I truly made it that long. It was only God, because there's no way someone could have gone through all of this and had a will to continue living. Her kids, her fans. She said that right now she's really not interested in, truly going back to the music industry. And to be completely honest with you, I don't blame her. What the public has done to her for such a long period of time, she deserves to choose to live her life in whatever way will keep her earnestly happy. That's not something that she's ever had. And I'm also gonna say, I feel like it's not gonna come easy to her to see the people who have used and abused her for such a long period of time. Her mom, her dad, her sister, her husband, all the people around her, Lou Taylor. I find this to be so sad that family is supposed to keep you, and instead they used and discarded her as often as possible. So as far as her level of trust, who can she truly trust? I know she talked about her friend Cade, and from my understanding, they're still very, very close. But it was very traumatic to know that she suffered for such a long time. A woman with so much talent and ability. And to be honest with you, it upsets me because it was stolen from us as fans, because we love her. You listen to her, you watch what she's done. She did I'm a Slave for You in one take. Okay, one take. Ain't nobody doing that today. Nobody is doing that. But they also stole it from her gift, her love of it. I don't want to say it's gone, but it's really hard to have that passion driven again, because people have stolen what you truly loved and desired all your life. And as a working class person, it's hard to be able to see things from a certain perspective when you are, constantly doing it for money or doing it for other people. You don't find enjoyment in it. And that's really ultimately where she is. I truly hope and pray that she is able to get to a place where she can be happy, where she can forgive people on her own terms, and that she can build a great life for her and her kids. I also hope that she finds or is able to be loved in the way that she wants to give it to others. To see it never manifest in the way that she wanted it. it was really, really hard to be able to hear and endure this story. So I love Britney. It's always free Britney for me. Y'all ain't gonna sit down here and tell me the way she acting on social media doesn't work for you, because like she said, she done been through too much to care about what other people think. If my girl wanna dance and twirl all day for 7 days a week, I completely understand. But my main concern is her safety and her health, mentally, physically, emotionally. No one deserves that. And I don't know if y'all are aware, the very same thing almost happened to Mariah Carey. This was something her brother tried for her, and it was backed up pretty much at the very last moment. I wonder how often this happens to people. And it's also made me wonder, what can we do to prevent this? Because Britney was on lithium. Like, that is hard for someone to be on, to be able to sustain them. And she did not have any of these things that were going on. The Free Britney movement really alerted the hospital to what the family was doing to her. But knowing that this can happen, where people take advantage of others, what can be done to stop it? So I hope legislation comes out to prevent it. Don't know if it will, but in the meantime, I'm gonna celebrate Britney being out. I'm gonna be happy about it. I was actually playing Give Me More this morning on repeat. It's one of my favorite workout songs. She talked in the book how it was literally Blackout was her favorite album. So if you've listened to Blackout, I think we can really understand why it's her favorite album. She's free, she's doing what she wants to do, and the music, it represents who she had become. So listen, when you feel ready, going ahead and read it, because I think that it will give you a great understanding of who Britney is, what has been done to her, and ultimately who she is right now. And I really hope that she gets to a place where she can be healthy, free, and loved by anyone and everyone that she accepts into her life. Because at this point in time, it's really up to her who she's choosing to be around her, and she really needs and deserves that safe space. So that's my thoughts on the memoir. I tried to keep it short. Obviously, I did not. I hope you love it. The last thing I'm gonna say is, it was like, I rated it 5 stars, but I felt like, how do you rate someone's life story, especially as tragic as this? I rated it based on the vulnerability and honesty that she gave to us. And hopefully she is able to move past it in a way where she can ultimately live her life with her boys. So let me know your thoughts. Did you love it? Have you read it? Are you going to read it? I'm also going to have the hardbook copy as well, because it's Britney, how can I not? Don't stop streaming and buying my girl's music, because she is still her, period. All right. Thank y'all for listening. I hope y'all tune in to Brit and next week's episode. I will be talking about Brooding Over Bloody Revenge, my book club pick. Until then, bye y'all.